So again, our final project is going to look like a Thomas Hart Benton. It's going to take a minute for that to get clear. Again, I'm copying off of one of those pictures that we saw. You can look up Thomas Hart Benton landscapes, but again, everything's going to be very flowy. So you can see my foreground is going to be a little bit bigger. In my middle ground, I'm doing a field. So each layer that goes back, several different examples. Again, a foreground. So to get started, I'm going to draw in Cray-Pas. I would just have you guys start in pencil. And I'm just going to do mine in white to begin with. So I am going to have a foreground right here. To make a tree, the best way to make a tree is the letter Y. So there's my letter Y. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my tree. So you can see that I've already put the leaves and stuff in there. And he was really stylized, so I kind of made it look like cotton candy that goes around there. And his that he did, he had like a fence post. So I'm going to go ahead and put a fence post right there. In my next layer, I want it to look more like a farming. So I'm going to put some rows in there to make it look like some wheat fields. I can add one more layer. And maybe back here, I'm going to have some little trees. Now this is really far in the background, so they would just be little. You wouldn't be able to see very much of it. And I always love to include a Thomas Hart Benton cloud because they were just really wavy. So once you get that, you're going to be coloring these in Cray-Pas. When you use Cray-Pas, we want to make sure you layer. So I know I'm going to have a green field up here in front. I'm going to go kind of fast. I will say that coloring on Cray-Pas, when you have a layer of stuff underneath it, it goes much faster. But I want to layer my colors. That's the best thing about Cray-Pas. They're like using paint, but not as messy. Actually, they are pretty messy. Your hands get really gross when you're done. So I want to layer my colors. So I'm going to do a bunch of different kinds of greens, even this little green. Now, this is in my very front. So you would see some of the details. So I could come in and maybe there are some little blades of grass. Maybe there is some straw or stuff growing up there. I can do that. So my next layer, we're in Kansas, so I'm going to make it a wheat field. And again, layering as many of these colors as I can. Think of some colors that you would see in a wheat field. This one goes a little bit farther back, so I'm going to make this layer a little bit darker so it sticks out. Oh, I have to tell you what, when I'm working on this, the colors that are on the paper to what actually shows up on the screen, I've noticed have been very different. Now again, I'm kind of going in a hurry to get it all done. Using a light color, white is the absolute best Cray-Pas color because when I go back with white, it kind of adds a highlight to where those rows are. And so I also probably want to do a dark side. So on this side of the field, I'm going to make it a little bit darker so you can have those really stand out. With my tree should be great. Now, I'm doing mine as a summer one. You are welcome to kind of look at some other colors. Maybe you wanted to do a fall. Just a little bit of black so I can show some of the wood grain in there. And again, when I do my tree, wow, I am coloring so fast. When I'm doing my tree and I get that first layer in there, have you noticed the difference? When I did my wheat field, I'm coloring this way. I want this to look more like leaves, so I'm kind of doing circular motions. But again, once I did, this is still in my foreground. I could go back and just add a few leaves for detail. I can always add some highlight for the sun shining down. I actually think I'm going to leave that and then leave my background because I kind of want to do a sunset for my background. So then you can just kind of color your sky. It can be a blue sky, and you guys are welcome to look up Thomas Hart Benton. Google Thomas Hart Benton landscapes, not just Thomas Hart Benton landscapes, and you can get Thomas Hart Benton. This could be a blue sky. You could add a few more clouds in it. But you kind of get it. At the very end, so that your images do pop out, you might want to come back at the very last step and outline. That black outline just kind of helps make your whole image pop out. Okay? So as you can see, I did this one on black paper. But you can see how when I was doing the clouds, added a little bit of color. This looks like more of a sunset, more of the purple. You could add some bushes in there. And that is what we are doing today.